Yeah, man. So, 43, married, got kids, got into crypto back when Ether was trading at like $200-300 a token. And I started mining crypto. I needed a hobby at the time. I don't remember. I was bored at work, just wanted a hobby. And then a buddy of mine, a while ago was like, "Hey, have you seen the price of Ether recently?" I was like, "No, I haven't." So I checked it out. So started watching more videos on crypto, ran across your video. And I was seriously tempted to just do this myself. There's hundreds of hours of videos out there about liquidity pools, and they're valuable. I've really educated myself. They're incredibly valuable. DeFi is so much different than it was 7, 8, 9 years ago. Like
Yeah.
I'm a smart cookie. I'm building my own house. I taught myself to plumb and electric. I taught myself options. I was a very successful mortgage guy. I made probably 900,000 off of mortgages in 2009 and 10 when everybody else was panicking. I don't know that I would have figured this out without some coaching. Like just the Web 3.0 and DeFi and the complexity is a lot more than what I was expecting, which is great. I mean, it's actually phenomenal what's happened. But yeah, so ran across you, started with about 35,000. I've been honestly performing close to 20% a month. I'm up almost 40 grand from where I started. I was doing so well after about 2 months. I put another 30 grand in. And that's what I just broke a little over 100,000. And it's not without its risk. I've got some losers. I've got some $1,000-$2,000 positions that are currently worth $100.
Obviously you're going to have winners, you're going to have losers, but what's important is you have that bag of winners that drastically makes up for those losers. Like if you're losing, say $100, $200, you want to make sure you're making $500, $600, right? To completely outweigh those losers and still have a little bit of buffer room. And then from there, when you start to scale up, if you're losing $1,000, $2,000, because obviously DeFi does come with its risk, you want to make sure you have your winners and your stable bag, I guess you could say, your blue chip bag, stuff that you have straight conviction in that is making up for those losses, basically. What was your driving motivation behind joining the Build a Wealth program?
Part of it's passive income. Because I'm building my own house, I'm not spending a lot of time earning income. I'm spending most of my time spending money.
Spending money,
And
not making money.
the cost of inflation has been absurd.
Yeah.
The cost of materials in my house is probably double what it was. And so, within the next 6 to 12 months, I was going to have to go back and get a job and put the house construction on hold. This was an educated guess that maybe I can earn enough of a return to push that back to be able to finish the house. Because when the house is finished, I'm effectively retired. So this was, that was the motivation is, if I lose the money, I have to go back and get a job 3 or 4 months sooner than I would have had otherwise. If this ends up being a legitimate 5, 10, 15% a month, I don't think people understand just how absurd 10% a month is. And if that absurd number turned out to be true, which it has, I've got 3 months of track record of doing better than that. Then I can push that runway back to hopefully complete the house.
Especially like funding a house, I guess, or development of a house through passive income is an absurd idea, especially like some of our other clients. I mean, they're not in a situation like you where, they're building their own house, but they're obviously paying a mortgage on a house. And how do they pay for that mortgage? Well, they work their day job. They can, pay for that mortgage and kind of set aside some income, or they could be a little bit different and invest their income and build up a portfolio and then use revenue from that portfolio to fund their mortgage. After joining the program, what would you say you've accomplished and did you reach your goals?
Oh yeah, 100%. I don't know that I have a dollar amount goal. I came to the conclusion that I would have not have learned these skills on my own. And so learning how to be like, if you shut down tomorrow, I think I'm good. I'd miss you. I'd miss the crew guys. I'd miss the weekly team. There's so many tokens. There's so many, Web 3.0 applications. There's so many companies that it's impossible to do that much research on your own. So having other people to talk to and get some ideas is nice. But yes, I've gotten to the point where I feel comfortable, self-sufficient on being able to manage my investments on my own from here on out.
Ultimately, at the start, we want to do some of the work for you. We want to help you out. And that's kind of what we do. We build you a strategy list. We build you a tracking system to track all your investments. But ultimately, our goal is to also teach you how to do this stuff on your own, teach you how to find the strategies, teach you how to build your own tracking system, teach you how to actually enter and exit the pools and that type of stuff. So that way, after initial phases of our roadmap, well, you just pop into our group calls. You provide us with value. Simultaneously, we're also providing you with value, but you know how to do everything. And that way you can support yourself.
Like this is, I agree with you 100% because this is the talking about, like, I don't know what I don't know. I
Of
now
course.
have like a tab with probably 30 or 40 saved websites. You can't just go do a Google search for these things.
Yeah.
And now that I have that, basket of tools that I'm comfortable interfacing with, yeah, it's a world of difference.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the results that you've kind of achieved? I know you mentioned earlier that you just hit that 100K mark.
Yeah, so this is a spreadsheet that I've been building and tracking for myself now for several months. Started doing this in early August is when I first had my first meeting with you. Here's individual positions that I track, and so you can see, like, I'm really active and I have it very diversified. Like, I'm probably spending an hour to 2 hours a day minimum managing
Yeah.
this investment portfolio, and I don't think that's typical.
Well,
Um,
I think on the other end of things, it's like the good thing about concentrated liquidity in specific is you tailor your pools to how active you want to be in those pools. Like if you want to be like yourself, rebalancing literally once a day or spending 1 to 2 hours per day on it, you can do that. And granted, you're going to get a higher return. But
yeah.
of course, if you don't have that type of time, well, you can tailor it in a more passive manner. Obviously, the return is going to be lower, but it's going to suit you. And if the trade off is, okay, maybe spending an hour a week instead of an hour a day, well, that's 6 extra hours that you're not spending that
Oh
you
yeah,
can do
I could
whatever
I
in,
could
and you get that
absolutely
higher
cut this
return.
down to, 4 or 5 positions, spread out the ranges, and then I'd still be looking at, a 60, 70 return. Yes,
Exactly.
I'm swinging for the fences. I mean, you can see, like, some of these percentages are absurd. I mean,
Yeah.
4, 5, 600%. I mean, this is my average daily on my, initial $30,000. This is on average, the value of my portfolio has increased by $600 to $700 a day. But I think that we've got a unique opportunity in the next 6 to 18 months. We got the
Mhm.
halving coming up next April. Everything's on a pretty solid upward trend. And all of my positions, I tend to average 10 to 20% better than what the position would have.
Yeah.
So, all right, if the whole market's down 50% and I'm only down 30, that's a success.
So at the top, it shows you deposited 71,253. That's your overall deposit across all these positions, correct? And then your current capital across all these positions is roughly, say, 100,263. So I guess you're up roughly 29 on the dot, or nearly on the
Yeah,
dot, it looks like, or maybe 29, $10, but who's considering $10 at this point?
right, right.
But yeah, I mean, with that being said, I do want to touch on the fact that you said this is a unique opportunity. I think this is a very um time sensitive opportunity as well. We're at a point in time where institutions are literally trying to move into cryptocurrency. They're getting these approvals from the SEC and all these other regulators. And eventually they're going to start to get into the decentralized finance. And ultimately, that's going to suck for us retail users because that means more liquidity is coming into the market, which is going to dilute those returns, which is why I think it's one of those opportunities where, yes, it will be around later, but it's not going to be nearly as well. It's like we're at that forefront of the industry, which is allowing for these super high returns and this super high success rate.
Background story. I bought a bunch of rental properties back in 2008, 2009. And 2006, 2007, 2008, my wife was trying me to buy a house. And I was like, there's no way. There's no way. The market's so overinflated. And then 8 and 9 came around, and I knew at that time this was a once in a lifetime opportunity to invest in real estate. And I was right. Like I said, we made close to $1 million off of, I don't know, like a $10,000 or $20,000 investment. It was like
Yeah.
the whole story of what we did with real estate over a 5 or 6 year period was pretty fun and exciting. But this feels like a very short time window, and short is 6 months to 3 years, right?
Mhm.
It's at some point big money is going to come in and they're going to flood us out.
Well, with that being said, I do want to ask, would you recommend this program to somebody that was initially in your shoes before you joined?
Yeah, yeah. Because like I said, this isn't a skill set that I would have been capable of learning on my own. There
Mhm.
are skills and information and links to websites and utility and tools that you're not going to learn just by doing a Google search or
Of
just by
course.
watching YouTube videos. You need to do that too. I mean,
Mhm.
I can't rely on just you to provide my
Of course,
education,
yeah.
but you were a stepping ladder that I wouldn't have been able to do without the team that you've built.
As
Yeah.
I said earlier, we want to teach you how to do it. We want to teach you how to be like us. And even we are going to do research every single day. We are going to do those Google searches and find new information because we have to. And that's how we keep you updated. And granted, there's going to be times where you come along and you teach us something. And that's our goal, because there's so much information about this space to the point where you need multiple people. And ultimately, what we're trying to build is a big group of people that are all sharing knowledge, sharing expertise about DeFi to the
Yeah.
point where we all benefit, not just us helping you, but eventually you helping us.